You know, vast amounts of people are still very asleep, but there's vast amounts of people that are aware we have a situation. They're just not quite aware of what it is. They just know things are not well, things are not right.
Well, it could be a means of getting less government, or it could be a means of simply handing over to a new form of government.
I mean, these are all long-term plans that they have. I mean, it's taken like since before the invention of the television, it's taken about 100 years or 120 years to put this particular plan into effect and to put all the dominoes in place. I mean, it goes right back to Louis Pasteur and germ theory and all of this sort of stuff, which was like way back. So this is all part of the same plan. So these are very, very long-term plans. All of the above are part of the agenda. They want to control all the people who are left. Humankind is very, very strong. We're very, very powerful. You can't control us this way. Like I said, even if they do create this system, it's destined to fail because you can't do this with human life. It's just too powerful. So, you know, even the fact that they're pushing so hard and it is so haphazard, and Agenda 2030 is there because they failed on getting it in place by 21, you know, Agenda 21, they had to change it to Agenda 2030. They're desperate. They're really, really desperate to fall over themselves to try to get this control grid in place. And, you know, people just aren't going along with it. So, but like I said, I think they're dying out. I think they are, I mean, they're just losing. We are heading into a very, very dark tunnel. So like I said, you're going to be on that little boat. You're going to be going through the House of Horrors for the next little while. You're going to see a lot of stuff which is going to cause people's minds to just about implode. And you've got to be able to just face the shadow. If you've never looked at the shadow and you've never been able to face the shadow, well, you're about to move directly through that shadow. So you better be prepared for it. You better be prepared to be able to face infinity without flinching. No stake in the outcome. You can see that light at the end of the tunnel. Keep your focus there. And if people destroy themselves along the way, I mean, you can do what you can to offer help and guidance to these people, but ultimately it's their sole choice. And that's what you are in at the moment too. This is your sole choice.
This time is so important, what's happening to humanity. Like, I think we've been given a choice. We can go in either one of two directions. And we really have to put down the fear and realize that the choice is ours to make. A lot of people aren't seeing that. They're waiting to be saved. And I think that's a big problem. People have to realize what's happening and embrace it themselves. I think a lot of what we're seeing here, I mean, humanity is right on a cusp at the moment. We really could go in either direction. You know, with all the technology that's coming online, it's all very well to think that, well, this can just free us. But unfortunately, people's hubris may get them into a little bit of trouble, because you've got to take into account the fact that the world is run by criminals who simply don't want to free us. And that is currently who's in control of a lot of the technology. So it's time for people to really step up to the plate with this and realize that we have to start embracing this ourselves, and we have to be the ones that are pushing in the direction that we want.
Well, what we've got here is an oligarchical system where we have a small group of individuals controlling the planet by controlling all the resources on the planet, mainly through control of the money system. The money system is the head of the snake. We need to address that and everything below that point. It creates a tiered system down from the issuance of currency. So that's the big problem. We basically got a situation where most of the world exists in a state of debt slavery. Well, virtually all the world does. Everywhere the World Bank has got hold of anyway. And it's an economic model that by its very nature, which requires permanent growth, it will eventually destroy the planet, destroy all life on the planet. You know, basically we're harvesting resources and turning them into rubbish because we have to make everything to break in order to support the economic model. So we're turning the entire planet into a rubbish tip. And eventually it will cost all life on the planet. It will cost all human life anyway. And the planet will not sustain us if we continue to support this system. So that's the main basic problem that we've got. Very often people don't see the problem because they're caught up in a state of debt slavery to the point that they're running so fast on the treadmill that they don't have time to look around them. And they never really question money. Money is something that we take for granted. We don't really question where it comes from, how it's made. We hear all of these conspiracy theories about fractional reserve banking and all sorts of stuff. But it actually goes a lot deeper than that. It's the private issuance of currency itself that is the root of the problem. And there are people waking up to the fact that we do have some serious issues to face, but even when they do wake up to it, they don't really know what to do about it because they don't have any unity in their community. We've lost common unity in our community, which is what the word's supposed to mean. And that's another thing that I focus on very much in the talks is common unity. The need to break down barriers in our community so you have a strong communal response to any type of action government puts forth. Because ultimately, if we have this respect for each other, then things must change because society must change with that respect. Well, we're kept in a state of debt slavery where we're always competing with each other and we don't actually in a respectful manner to each other, and so the government just gets away with what it wants to do, So ultimately it's got to come down to that. It's got to come down to changing our basic perception and starting to operate according to moral parameters rather than legal parameters. Questioning when laws are put in place which cause us to deviate from our moral compass, why we should do this. But again, if we don't have that united community, then we don't have people standing up for it. We're just a tall poppy that they like to cut down or a nail that's sticking up that they like to knock on their head. So it's got to come down to this common respect in the community. That's a big thing that we've lost as a result of the system, again, as a result of the economic model.
And what about, like you mentioned technology now, the blockchain is a real game changer.
Well, the blockchain could be a game changer depending on how we play it, because people's hubris, again, may be what gets them in trouble with this. When we go to the blockchain and we start to automate everything, which is what seems to be happening, everything's becoming automated, we're in danger of trading one type of government for a new type of government, which will simply be an AI government. And if that government is run by artificial intelligence, and it's really going to depend on how that operates. There's new systems coming in, which I intend to talk about in my talk today, like a social crediting system that is coming online. It's already online in China, whereby they will penalise what you can and cannot buy depending on what your political views are. In that sort of a situation, it doesn't matter how much money you may have on the blockchain or in Bitcoin, if you can't spend it on things because your person is simply denied certain services due to your political views, due to a social crediting system, which is what governs purchases, not necessarily the accumulation of wealth, but what governs purchases of airline tickets and things like this, then that's a danger that we've got to take into account as well. So again, it's going to depend on how we play it. The blockchain could be good, but we've got to look at how those who are currently in control of things wish to play this and what moves they're making to control the blockchain. Not again by controlling the blockchain, but by controlling what you can and cannot purchase due to your political views.